Upon quitting his position at Capcom, legendary game director Shinichi Mikami allied his forces with a few ex-Capcom employees to create a gaming studio called Tango Gameworks. Eventually, they got purchased by ZeniMax. We would have to see what Bethesda had planned for Tango Gameworks' first upcoming game, The Evil Within.
Find myself within, darkness twisting me around.
Helmed by Shinichi Mikami,
That doctor who went schizo and chopped up all those patients.
The Evil Within tells the tale of Sebastian Castellanos, who is pretty much sent on investigating a gruesome mass murder at the Beacon Mental Hospital.
That's not what happened. Some patients disappeared. Some kind of scandal?
Accompanied by his partner, Joseph Oda,
Sounds serious. Is it a riot?
and rookie recruit Julie Kidman.
Nothing yet. I'm sure we'll know everything once we get there.
Upon entering the Beacon Mental Hospital, it's pretty much as you'd expect. Blood, bodies all over the place. Sebastian, not understanding what's going on or how this horrible thing could have happened, all of a sudden the apocalypse arrives and a lot of hallucinations left and right appear, and you realize that the Evil Within seems to mix a few iconic ideas from different genres. The gameplay, reminiscent of what Mikami had done with Resident Evil 4, where it's all about moving around in third person and then aiming down and the camera advances so that it enhances your aim, which pretty much reinvented or was the classical new formula which became iconic for the Resident Evil franchise. Something that the Dead Space gaming franchise would borrow from, gameplay-wise of course. However, there is a twist there. It is definitely not a rehash of what Mikami has done. There is an extensive bodywork in the stealth mechanics. The game will focus a lot on a design where you have to wait for the right moment to take down your enemy. The game is more stealth than action, even though gameplay-wise it feels like an action game, but it is a horror stealth game where if you don't pay attention, and especially in harder difficulty, it can cost you your life. Upon advancing further, you realize that there are a few tips and tricks where it comes to the gameplay. An upgrade system is there, unlike Resident Evil 6 that dished it away, where you enter a chair and all of a sudden a metallic saw thing comes on your head, and then you are greeted with a menu where you pretty much put brain gel in your brain. Yes, you heard me right. To upgrade certain types of stats, whether it's shooting better, having better stamina, having more health, having more bullets, which weapon to upgrade, and so forth. The game is structured into 15 chapters, and the length can go up to 10 to 15 hours, depending on which difficulty you play, or depending on if you take the time to explore the environments. One of the highlights of The Evil Within is that, yes, there are cinematic cutscenes, yes, you do follow Sebastian throughout a hellish Jacob's Ladder adventure.
Oh, you're dead.
I'm not dead.
What are you then?
I'm alive.
But the story is not necessarily told through Sebastian's eyes. Mostly documents, audio logs, the environments themselves, the System Shock-esque flashback scenes that you will encounter throughout the whole adventure will pretty much give you the whole incentive of what the whole lore means. You actually want to go back and see if by replaying it, you get a better understanding of what are the characters' motives and how they fit in with the whole complexity of the story. The texture work as well is worth mentioning. The ITIC 5 is very well used. Most of the textures do come out as strong. There's a sense of cohesive design which fits with the environments themselves. The mesh work as well is very solid. Complementing with the texture work, most of the game looked at the time like a next-gen title, and today still looks top-notch when you look at it. The backside, or should I say the biggest problem with The Evil Within, is the ITIC 5, because most of the texture do pop up during cutscenes, which pretty much reminds you that you are playing a game of 2014, which is a bit disappointing, but hence these were the limitations of the engine, and I don't think that Tango games could have done differently. Now, if you have an SSD drive, you might not notice this, as usually the ITIC 5 engine has a tendency of taking advantage of faster drives. But like most gamers, such as myself, we use our old hard drives, hence we have to deal with this little problem that the ITIC 5 has brought to the table. It is worth an honorable mention here that Tango Gameworks has transformed an engine which was conceived for first-person shooters to basically render and design a third-person Resident Evil game, which was probably not an easy task, but Tango Gameworks has pulled it off masterfully. To its fault, The Evil Within has a few problems going for it. The first thing is that at some point in the game, or should I say in the campaign, there are a few moments where you are going to be close-quartered versus a lot of enemies. Now, on easy difficulty, if you've upgraded your weapons most of the time, these are not gonna feel annoying by any means, but they're not gonna feel that much scary. In harder difficulty, and especially if you unlock the annoying Akuma difficulty, you are pretty much gonna throw your controller by the roof. It is frustrating by any means, and it is totally unfair. If you want to enjoy the game and you don't care about achievements, avoid the Akuma mode at all costs. There was some controversy with The Evil Within when it was released at the time. One of the complaints was the fact that the game ran at 30 FPS. The fake widescreen bar pissed off a bunch of the PC community, and people weren't happy with the version that they got. Eventually, Tango Gameworks added some patches which gave the opportunity to add or remove the widescreen bars that appear and force the game at 60 frames per second. If the players choose to buy The Evil Within, they'll have the option of buying the game separately or buying the Evil Within bundle, which is priced at $32.99 Canadian. The bundle will feature the original game plus 3 expansion packs. Or if the player has already The Evil Within, the additional option is to purchase the additional DLC with a season pass of $12.99, which is a decent price considering that the season pass was more expensive before. In the assignment, you play as Julie Kidman. You see her side story through the Evil Within events, and her adventures continues in The Consequence, which pretty much ends her story arc. Julie doesn't have a lot of weapons. Her gameplay is mostly based on stealth, so if you were a fan of the action-oriented side of The Evil Within, you might be disappointed by those 2 expansion packs. However, if you were a fan of the more psychological horror, or of the well-integrated stealth mechanics throughout the whole gameplay, then the assignment and The Consequence will definitely be your cup of tea, as they offer a lot of great gameplay ideas. Both expansions will run up to an hour and a half or 2 hours of gameplay depending on your stealth skills, which is acceptable. Of course, it's always appreciated when there's more game time, but considering the minimal amount of bugs or no game-breaking issues were occurred during the playthrough, I can pretty much see that they're quality-based DLC that will be worth your time. In the third expansion pack, which is called The Executioner, you play as the Keeper, a villain which was introduced in the main campaign of The Evil Within. As the Keeper, you'll have a few weapons. you'll be able to upgrade your arsenal throughout the campaign of the Executioner, and to upgrade your arsenal, you'll have to pick up coins. Coins can be picked up by executing some Executioner skills, grabbing enemies and throwing them in spikes, or just killing them will pretty much grant you coins. Exploring the manor as well will give you coins as well. Basically, the core is more action-oriented. The presentation isn't first person, which is surprising considering the fact that the other expansion packs plus the Evil Within campaign isn't third person. However, the game was made with the It Take 5 in mind, and the It Take 5, considering that it's a first person engine, runs totally fine the idea of the Executioner. Surprisingly, the gameplay when you hit, smash, or dodge enemy attacks, it reminds us of games such as Hexen, which was mostly a melee brawling slash RPG game. Now, of course, the Executioner, the expansion pack, never reaches the level of depth that a game like Hexen had. However, for the small price that it costs, and the hour and a half of gameplay that it offers, and the minimal or barely noticeable any game-breaking issues, it is a solid DLC. At the end of the day, the expansion pack is worth it. It will enhance your gameplay hours, give you a few insights on the lore of the Evil Within, and give you a DLC which pretty much offers a melee-based incentive of what Tango games can do with a first-person brawler game. If you want to expand your hours with the Evil Within, it's definitely worth checking out. The Evil Within is definitely a win for gaming director Shinji Mikami. The whole action-oriented vibe of the Resident Evil is present, but the focus on horror here is very appreciated. There's a lot of gore here to satisfy horror fans, and to top it off, the gamble that they took on the stealth mechanic make the game fresh, unique, and definitely creepy and intense at a lot of the areas during the campaign. The Evil Within gets a 9 out of 10. Last E3 press conference, Bethesda announced a few titles which got gamers kind of excited. One of these titles was The Evil Within 2. Surprising that a sequel was announced to The Evil Within. Critically, the game had been well received. It got a lot of decent and good reviews. Financially, the game made some money, but it was never a huge hit. So this was definitely a surprise. I appreciate Bethesda's movement here of producing sequels to actual good games, which is something that Activision should start learning. With that said, we'll have to see what Bethesda and Tango Games have cooked up for The Evil Within 2.
Way down.